Okay, hello everybody. Just doing a quick video just to go through the assessment, the summative assessment for the emotional touchpoint presentation for your Nursing Across the Life course 2, block 2. Looking through it initially, first thing you need to identify is that it is due on the 27th. So you've got about 3 weeks to get this in. So I thought this was a timely kind of moment to bring up this issue and put this this video and this Padlet out together. So basically, hopefully you've had some thoughts about this, you've been thinking about it while you've been on practice, but the point is that you need to do a 10 to a 15-minute video presentation. Okay, and in this video presentation, what you need to do is discuss an emotional touch point. Now, we've talked about emotional touch points. There is some information out there, particularly in the Nursing Practice 1 Blackboard site. Now, that is the key where you need to go if you're not sure what this emotional touch point is. You should have done one on each placement as you've got along now, so you should have an idea. What is important, though, is when you're thinking about this, is that this emotional touch point is not just a description of what's happened. What we want you to be thinking about is how an emotional touch point has triggered something in you to make you think a bit more deeply and want to understand something at a deeper level, because this is an academic assignment. So we need to think how you're bringing theory and practice together and how that's helping you develop your nursing skills, your knowledge, your attitudes. So looking at the 4 main points, what we're talking about is briefly outlining the emotional touch point. Now again, this is an idea of the whole point is not to you to give us a blow-by-blow account of every single tiny thing that happened. What we want you to do is just give us an overview, tell us what it means. Include an explanation of what happened. This could be event or activity in any aspect of your life. So it could be something to do with practice. It could also be something to do with your personal life that's really made you think about your practice, things you've come across in university, seminars that you've done, simulations that you've done, sessions where we've talked about things that have really kind of struck a chord with you. Obviously, when we talk about emotional touch point, it makes people think about, oh, it must be something major that's made me cry or feel devastated or distraught. But not necessarily. What we're looking for is about thoughtfulness, depth and reflection rather than drama, if you know what I mean. It might be something dramatic. It could have been your first resuscitation. It could have been your first death. That's absolutely fine to discuss. But again, what the most important thing is that we see how you can reflect on your practice. That'll be a big part of it. And the talk about is that how it helps you develop your capacity to be a good nurse. So what has it got to do with nursing? What has it got to do with your practice and how you understand what nursing is? We're talking about feelings. We're talking about you managing your emotions, understanding those emotions, how you dealt with them, and how those tap into your beliefs and values. Has anything that's happened challenged your beliefs and values? Has it really made you think, I always thought that this was such and such, but actually now thinking about it, reflecting on it, and after that experience, I've really kind of had to question those beliefs, question those values. And that can be in a positive way. Hopefully, what you're able to do is reframe some of your pre-existing conditions. It could be a judgment you've made. It could be something you've never even thought about, and something comes in and changes your mindset on it. Discuss how reflecting on this emotional touchpoint will change or reinforce your professional practice. And this is where I think this idea of a reflective cycle comes from. Thinking about a reflective model. Thinking about how you did a collaboration week right at the beginning when you first started in nursing and health. I'll try and attach that PowerPoint to it because it does talk about emotional touch points, and it does talk about reflection and using models of reflection. But what we're asking for is to actually, if you look a little bit closer down, gives you some examples there, that's fine. But you should make reference to research and/or literature during your presentation, okay? So it isn't just you having a chat to camera. It is very much about you thinking about how you've gone away, you've read, you've gone away, you've understood, you've gone away and applied a reflective framework or model or way of thinking, and how actually the act of reflecting has changed the way you look at it. New knowledge has been brought in, and that's really influenced your thoughts and feelings about it, and therefore your practice. I think the way that you present that information to show your reading is up to you, but I think you should really kind of pay reference to it in your speaking, and it should be we're aware that you have applied that. So if you're going to use John's or Gibbs or Kolb's model, refer that, mention that. You don't have to do anything fancy about bringing text onto the screen unless you want to. That's fine, that would be great if you did, but don't worry. Even if at the very basic you want to hold up a piece of paper at the end that's got some references on it, you could even do that. We can talk a little bit more about how you can use tips and tricks to edit or put text in or things like that when you come back into practice in next week. So we can discuss that, don't worry. And also about any, if you haven't actually filmed it yet, that's okay, because we can talk about how the technology can do that. But what you need to do is you need to be thinking right now about what it's going to be about, how you're going to discuss it, and doing your reading and your background reading. This is at the end of first year, and if you think about the level of academic skill that you needed in your first assignments, this is no different. This is not an easy assignment. This is not something that you can just do on the fly and do the night before, because I will be looking for some depth of thought and some depth of reflection. Okay, so webcam is fine. iPad, that's great. You could use all kinds of apps you can use. If you don't have access to any technology or information that you need, come into uni. We can do it here. We can do it with the iPad, and you can borrow that. And the rest of it is basically about how you submit. So you need to be looking at all the guidance there is on the Blackboard site for you to do that. Now I'm going to embed this video into a Padlet, and then within that Padlet you can start asking questions, and what I'll do is I'll answer them as I go along into that, and I'll try and put a little bit of information on there just to get you thinking and get you started. Okay, so that's great. Looking forward to seeing you all next week, and don't forget that you've got this deadline coming up for the 27th. All right, take care.